Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, Senior Lakers Insider, as well as lead Lakers content creator for Offside. By the way, on the Offside note, our beta is live, and I have a cool little update for those of you who use Android phones. That update is coming in the next weekish or so. So we'll be able to expand in that way. We keep on growing as it is. The chat is growing in there. The videos that we're producing, I believe, keep getting better. And the app itself is incredibly stable now. Things are really looking up for Offside. So you guys are going to want to check that out, offside.gg. But yeah, I am their lead Lakers insider as well as content creator on the Lakers side of things. I'm joined on this fine Wednesday afternoon by Harrison Fagan, who is of SB Nation. And today on the show, we're going to be talking about whether or not the Lakers can prove they aren't frauds. I believe they are, but they might. Is there anything that they can do to make me not feel that way going into the playoffs? Quick reminder, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are listening to the show in the morning via podcast, please subscribe wherever it is that you get those pods, preferably on Odyssey, but no matter where you get them, works for me. Harrison, how are you holding up, bud?
You know, I have a bone to pick with you because it's like every show you come on here and you give yourself the full Daenerys Targaryen, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, Queen of the Andals, and the First Men, and a title, and then you're like, oh yeah, Harrison works for SB Nation, by the way. Like my title is not that hard to remember. You don't remember it.
It's like lead of basketball. Is it basketball? What is it?
It's lead of basketball. Yes. Yeah, please introduce me as Harrison Fagan, lead of basketball.
All right. What's your title?
No, it's fine. It's lead of basketball. That's what I'm sticking.
No, it's not. Say what your title is. You can't
lead of basketball.
Here, you picked a bone. Now I'm offering you the bone.
No, I just like to complain.
All right, fine. But no, like Harrison is in charge of communities and stuff on SB Nation. He and I used to work on Silver Screen and Roll together, and he got too big for the site, so he moved on, and I moved on, and now here we are. Is that okay?
Yeah. Every time you got to say that I got too big for the site.
So yeah, I also before we actually dive into the whether or not the Lakers are frauds topic, I sent a tweet, Harrison, that Lakers fans aren't very happy with. It's been a little while since I've done this.
This is every show starts with I sent a tweet that Lakers fans aren't really happy with Harrison. It's been a while since I did this.
Show.
It's almost every
show. It really has. So the Lakers, they announced that Michael Spetner is their new chief strategy and growth officer. Now
they really should specify business in that, because I feel like, at least for me, I immediately was like, oh, the front office made a hire. Like strategy sounds like a basketball thing to me. But apparently it's not, because
So they I'm just reading off of the release. Spetner spent the last decade with the Los Angeles Dodgers, most recently as the vice president of business strategy and analytics. He played a pivotal role in driving the Dodgers' commercial opportunities, implementing new business models for rights holders, and modernizing the fan ecosystem, combining in-arena experiences with digital communities. So the fact that it's all written in past tense makes me think he's moving away from the Dodgers, right? Like, makes me hope. Here's my thing. And basically what I said in the tweet was like, it's great that the Lakers are having more in common with the Dodgers. Like, that's what I have wanted ever since Mark Walter took over. But I didn't want it so specifically that they were literally sharing employees with the Dodgers. I don't want the people running. I don't want the Lakers to be like some moonlighting gig for the people who were running the Dodgers. Like I want
you should have been more specific. You put out into the universe for years, I want the Lakers to be the Dodgers, and then the monkey's paw curled and it said, okay, Anthony.
It's my bad. It is truly my bad. I should have been more specific. And one day I will learn to get super pedantic with my semantics on my prayers to the sports gods up there. But yeah, like, look, I'm not saying that it is like I'm not outright concerned right now. I'm not even concerned trolling. I just want more clarity on like, hey, Lon Rosen, are you working with the Dodgers or are you working with the Lakers? Now, Lon had said that he is focused on the Lakers and will occasionally go and spend some time working on the Dodgers too. And it's like, no, I want the people who were working on the Lakers to be solely focused on the Lakers. It's kind of like when you remember that one trend back in the day where head coaches were also made like presidents of basketball operations and GMs, and it's like, you can't, professional sports are so competitive that if you are not 150% committed and focused on your one task within the organization, you're screwed, because other teams that you're competing against, they have people in your equivalent position who are going to be solely focused on that gig. And the fact that or the possibility that these people, now this is just business strategy stuff, so it doesn't really matter all that much quite yet, but like, we already know that Andrew Friedman and Farhan Zaidi are like scouting Lakers games, going to Lakers games and watching that so they can give what does Andrew Friedman know about basketball? What possible input could he have on the game that he watched? Now, unfortunately, it was a game that the Lakers lost to the Phoenix Suns, and like the input could be like, hey, maybe beat the team that's missing 3 of their 5 best players. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just,
it would be really funny if he was just there and he's like, did you guys notice that like no one's trying on defense? It seems like is that normal?
Right, like,
it seems like the other team is.
But yeah, like, do you think I'm making too big a deal of this? Even though I swear I'm really not making it a big deal, but it's just like, I want to know. I want some clarity on like what these positions are actually going to be like. Are they truly going to be shared between the Lakers and Dodgers? And is this, because like, you only get one first impression, and so far the first impression is like, yeah, we're sharing a bunch of stuff.
On the business aspect of this, because like you brought up 2 parts of it, and so like like the front office thing is a different thing. Like on the business side of it, I truly could not care less about this, because it's like, how different can the Lakers business be from the Dodgers business? As far as like selling merch and selling ads on TV rights or whatever, that's the networks that do that. But you know what I mean? Like, you're trying to figure out ways to profit from the team. I don't think that can be that different between sports. And so if Mark Walter is just like, hey, we at Walter Sports are going to make the Lakers and Dodgers like one giant conglomerate, and we're going to have our version of the Team LA store, but it's just Lakers and Dodgers stuff at both arenas, and they're really going to feel like sister franchises that sort of like really blend together. And so I want to have get them almost be 2 subsidiaries of this one corporation, like where they're working together hand in hand on ways to make money on these 2 teams. I don't care about that at all. Like that seems reasonably logical to me. And I don't think really affects anything that any of us will directly care about all that much. Like maybe there's certain stuff where like, it starts to feel like there's like corporate greed, like sort of entering some of these like discussions, or like,
Well, I will
the way that.
say, I was going to say that like one thing they already have in common is that the Dodgers and Lakers have both raised their ticket prices
Well, they have that in common with
quite a
almost
bit.
every sports team in the world right
Yeah,
now,
but
and really everything
specifically
else.
since Walter took over. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. And like, you can complain about that. And I don't like that. I'm not like saying like, hell yeah, raise the prices. I love it. But I just think like outside of that aspect, like that's the main part of it that even touches fans. And so if we mostly focus on what most of us care about is not, did the price of tickets to go to the game go up, 20 to 50 to $100 on average or whatever. Like obviously we care about that when we're going to a game, but on a day-to-day basis we care about how the Lakers are doing on the court. And because like most of us, like we're not going to more than one game a year, and so it's like that kind of stuff, it isn't like a single issue voter type thing for us. And so I don't care that much about this on the business side until we see it affect the basketball. And the basketball part of it is interesting because the Friedman Zaidi like advisorship thing, for me, I don't think that we have enough information to know if this is like a good idea or not, because if they're advising Mark Walter just on like, hey, it seems like this organization is like not very functional. Like, as long as they're not going in and they're like, hey, we think Rui should be playing more. Like, that's different to me than, than them coming in and being like, hey, it's kind of weird that like a lot of people that like Rob doesn't talk to a lot of people, right? Like, that's kind of strange. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like maybe he should address his employees sometimes. If like that's the kind of feedback they're giving, I'm totally fine with that, because they know what a functional organization looks like from a leadership perspective and from like how it operates day to day. Like I just don't really want them weighing in on players all that much. I mean, maybe, who knows, maybe they're good at it, but I can't imagine that's what they're doing, but that's where I would draw the line of like, it starts to become like, okay, this is getting a little Mickey Mouse. If you're having your Dodgers guys come in here and they're just like, well, I like basketball. Like, let's sign, let's extend Luke Kennard.
Analytically. The closest thing to an apples to apples comparison here would be back in the day, the Dodgers had a like their lead baseball mind was a guy named Paul Podesta, who I believe
he was
Jonah Hill.
Guys? Yeah,
he was
okay,
like,
yeah.
Jonah Hill portrayed.
Well, I think legally he was not Jonah Hill, but the Jonah Hill character was based on him.
Yeah, it was like indirectly based on Paul Podesta, and so he goes from like the A's basically to the Dodgers, and he was part of a very big part of this like analytical, rethinking of sports. And after his time with the Dodgers, actually the Cleveland Browns hired him. And the thinking was that like, hey, if you are really good at the math with baseball, can you bring some of that math to the Cleveland Browns? And it turns out that no, the Browns were beyond fixing. And like, Podesta's time there was
considering
not
their history,
all that.
I wouldn't really blame that solely on him. I think
I'm not going to say that like
that's a not applicable example. It's like, he couldn't fix it, but no one else really can either. So, it's
right. Like we could bring in any number of dietitians to my house, and like, if I don't take
it's like when the Pelicans keep firing people that can't keep Zion healthy. It's like, well,
have you seen this like Stephen A. Smith, Zion Williamson, New Orleans Pelicans beef thing that's going on?
Yes, that was bizarre yesterday. It's like a storyline lead in to the game was like, does Zion have a food addiction? Coming up next on First Take.
And then like this morning, I guess Stephen A. Smith went on like a 8-minute monologue talking about how he's more famous than most of the Pelicans. And it's like,
not wrong.
if you're the NBA, that can't be your like corporate partners analysis of your sport, right? Like, I know I say this often, and I know that I get up on my little soapbox and stuff like that, but like, I think Stephen A. Smith has been objectively bad for the sport.
Well, it's fine. I mean, he's going to be president in like 2 years. So I think we won't have to worry about it.
Well, that's if we ever have another president again.
No, President Stephen A. I think he's going to get deals done. You know,
right? Did he write?
You listen up here, Canada.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, if he has a book in like, you know, I think it's like called like The Art of the Deal, right? Like, I would imagine Stephen A. Smith has a similar book, right? Like, and usually those people
he probably
are good
has
at deal making.
like the artistry of the take or something. All
right, so let's go ahead and we'll move on, because it is one of those things that like I don't think we have fully like. I just wanted to call to attention, like, hey, so far the hires that
I'm with you on like this could be bad down the line, but like I'm willing to let them try on the business side. I just don't care. Yeah.
Well, look, the Dodgers and Mark Walter have earned the benefit of the doubt. So I kind of want to, I want to see this play out before I fully freak out. But like, so far, the only hire has been like a draft advisor who,
well, also, I mean, if this business guy is the guy who came up with Hello Kitty Night for the Dodgers, like Mia's going to be really excited. And so, you know, I'd say we got to let him cook for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and look, like it should be noted, I think that we were literally talking about this in the chat last night during the game. It was like the crowd was kind of flat. Raj was noting that the crowd was kind of flat at the beginning parts of last night's game. And it just feels like the game experience has become kind of stale for the Lakers. And that appears to be this guy's focus. So, like, if he can get in there and he can help with that experience and, you know, maybe regain more of the home court advantage that is usually associated with a game at, you know, wherever the Lakers are playing, then that'd be great. That'd be good. And also get rid of the lighting. I'm sick of the Lakers being the worst 3-point shooting.
No. I'm sorry. That's part of the game presentation. No. I can't get behind that.
I'm out. It's impractical. It looks cool, but it's impractical.
I'm fine. Like it. You know, look, everybody, teams should have more home court advantage quirks. Different 3-point lines.
I can't believe that the stupid idea that I lofted to Pete, like back when we were both hosting Locked On Lakers, of like, yeah, we should have variable 3-point lines and court dimensions, kind of like baseball stadiums do. That became a whole talking point for like a week.
Yeah. And also this guy whose name I'm blanking on, Mr. Business for the Lakers. You know, if you my suggestion would be mascot. The team needs one. I'm ready.
Genie's with you.
Yeah.
Genie,
give me a call.
Genie
I'm ready to go.
I'm with you on that one.
I'm ready to go. We can bring back Slam Duck. You know, maybe we could do the Lakers giraffe. He's behind me up there. I got ideas.
Oh, well, that's you're just looking for a job. Like that's what you're doing,
exactly. Right? Yes. The gif of my lifeless body being lowered from the rafters in an unconscious mascot suit. It's going to be an incredible, and then us reacting to it on the show afterwards is going to be incredible.
Yeah, I'm with it. All right, now you've talked me into that. Let's talk about the Lakers, and so I think right now, based on the stats, with the way that they profile, with the basketball that we've seen from them so far, with the way that the big three has kind of struggled together, and specifically Luka and LeBron have struggled together, they feel fraudish, right? Like
they also play in the Ponzi scheme dome, so that doesn't. It's not like helping. Like
it does also does. Yeah, moneylendering.com arena doesn't lend itself to this belief that the Lakers are a for real team. So, but yeah, I think that like I think most Lakers fans and when we talk about, or when I kind of, sit back and analyze where the Lakers kind of sit based off of the comments that I get and the questions that I get and stuff like that, one of the conclusions that I could easily arrive at is like, yeah, Lakers fans don't really believe in this team. They want to. I think they would love to get behind it, and I do think it's notable that like engagement numbers have been kind of creeping up recently as we approach the playoffs. So I do think there's a swell of support that the Lakers fans want to give this team, but I don't think they're fully willing to step out on that limb, because it's like every time the Lakers play a good team, they get their asses kicked. And so like I guess we'll start by asking if the Lakers can, do anything whatsoever to, or even do you agree with the premise that like the Lakers are fraudish right now? And
Yeah.
do you think there's anything that they can, okay, you do agree that they're fraudish. Is there anything that the Lakers can do before the playoffs start that would not make you feel that way or feel less that way?
I think, I mean, fraud is mean, and like not to go full Raj here and like start calling it the F word or something like that. Like I'm not gonna say that. Like I will say that I had separate multiple people within the last week have separately described the Lakers to me. These aren't like league sources or whatever. These are just like friends of mine that like I don't necessarily know if they want to be named. Describe them as the best bad team of all time. And I think that's like a fairly accurate description. This is like an
Yeah.
absolutely loaded bad team. They can beat every single other bad team really easily. But like they have the reason for the vibe is they just have these like, again, it's like we talked about, I think we talked about this summer at some point, where it's like, can you build a roster that doesn't have a giant highlighted video game boss weak point on it? Where it's like, okay, like look at this big, everybody's afraid of the big intimidating statue, but like, oh no, his heel's lit up. I wonder if I hit him there, if he'll go down. And it's like, the giant statue fighting you in the God of War game is LeBron, Luka, Austin, and then it's like the heel is like the rest of the roster. And you just go with those guys enough, and you can like defeat them in like 3 rounds, different attack patterns, that kind of stuff.
Well, the problem though is that like the big bad monster boss is that like it's not that monster bossy, right? Like so far statistically they don't really profile as an intimidating trio.
But
They
they
aren't
look
good.
like they should be, And
Yeah.
so there's this air on them of like, the reason people want to believe is because the team is so good at the top. It's hard to look at a LeBron, Luka, Austin group and just be like, no, like they're dead on arrival in the playoffs. But when you have a team, sort of like we were talking about last week with the Luka and Rob stuff, it's like they're almost built to augment Luka's weaknesses versus his strengths. And so
Yeah.
that's where like the weak point comes from. It's like normally like on a functional team, you have guys that are different from Luka that sort of like like that Mavs team that made the finals was basically the perfect team to build around Luka before Nico Harrison lost his mind. You have like one secondary creator, that can be Austin. And then you have a bunch of athletes and some lob threats and like defenders. And you get out in transition, and Luka and Austin can like go cook in the half court and make enough stuff happen that and you get enough stops that you can like sort of dominate, because Luka is such a playoff riser and such an impossible guy to game plan against in the postseason. But this team just doesn't have that. Like their lob threat, like people are making arguments for Jackson Hayes. People that I respect are making arguments for Jackson Hayes to start, when we just saw the playoffs last year exactly how that goes. And I know DeAndre Ayton has been horrible, but like we know Jackson Hayes is also not going to be good. And so it's just like, we're all arguing over these changes that are ultimately sometimes like appear to be somewhat meaningless to me. It's like, oh well, Luke Kennard should get more minutes. It's like, oh yeah, known playoff riser Luke Kennard is gonna, he's gonna get it done. It's just like there's not obvious solutions on this team that I would be like, there's no this is not like a coaching thing, at least to me, where I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, JJ, if he just deployed this roster a little differently, they would be fine. And there's all these combinations that are like the Rockets right now. It's like Ime is so stubborn and will not play Reed Shepherd when it's so clear that they just need someone who can like approximate a point guard on the floor. But he's like, no, he's soft. He doesn't play defense, whatever. I'm not going to play him. Like, but there's nothing staring that in the face for the Lakers. The answer is not like, oh, they just need Maxey more.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, and you touched on it. There's no solution that doesn't make me roll my eyes, right? Like,
or
I had
that doesn't create a different cascading problem.
Yeah, that too. But like, I had a back and forth in the comments of yesterday's show about like Jared Vanderbilt and how like I think it's a mistake that he is completely out of the rotation, and yet like Jared Vanderbilt eventually finds his way out of the rotation in the playoffs anyway.
Yes.
So like, are you just getting out ahead of that anyway? And you're right. Like, there is no, like when we talk about like the center concerns, right? And man, DeAndre Ayton, I don't trust him. JJ Redick doesn't even trust him enough to close games with him anymore. And yet it's
I think JJ Redick took him off the team group chat thread. Like I think at this point, like JJ.
Well, I mean, you make one too many fart jokes, and like the first couple are kind of funny. You're like, oh wow, like
so DeAndre, that's it. No more crunk juice for you.
But yeah, I think because you're right. Like last year, the reason that I couldn't, that like was proven to be kind of the Lakers' fatal flaw was that they entered the playoffs with Jackson Hayes as their best center. And guess what? They're entering the playoffs with Jackson Hayes as their best center, and there was some hope that maybe, Marcus Smart could come in and be a good enough point of attack defender for 40, for 25, 30 minutes
is too many for Marcus Smart. I think.
Yeah. Well, but like the hope was that like that you would get 40, like somehow, some way over the course of the season, you could get 48 minutes of point of attack defense. They didn't get that. They don't have that,
Yeah.
And so like, I'm not saying this to be defeatist. I'm not saying this that like as if I'm like so far down on the team, because I like the other thing too that needs to be taken into account is that like, yeah, the Lakers have questions about them, but a lot of these teams have questions about them.
Yeah.
Right. Like Denver.
It's an interesting year because like, I don't think there are any good teams in the NBA right now. I think everyone is a different shade of bad
or mid, I would say.
Yeah.
Like not bad, but mid. But if everybody
we're putting an I've already decided asterisk on this title, no matter unless the Lakers win, then it's fine. But asterisk on this title. Well, because the Lakers, they're overcoming so much to like even have that like punch above their weight class.
They're overcoming having DeAndre Ayton as their starting center.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you can get DeAndre Ayton to a ring, that knocks the asterisk off. But like other than that, I think anyone who wins the title this year, asterisk.
But especially if it's Boston. But like the thing that because everything that we're saying is, I think, pretty objectively true, that like these concerns about the Lakers are really valid. But I also listened to, like, I was laughing. Kirk the other day sent out or maybe it was yesterday, sent out a tweet about the Charlotte Hornets, who have become like this media darling, this up and coming team. And it's like, man, I can't wait to see what they do in the playoffs. They're below 500. Like we're sitting here, we're propping up this team, and it's because of our relative expectations for the Charlotte Hornets, especially because they've been owned by Michael Jordan, who did not care for so many years. Like our expectations for the Charlotte Hornets is like, oh shit, nice, they tied their shoe. But like with the Lakers, because they have
hey, damn, they didn't get into a car accident on the way home. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we can say that definitively.
It's been like 2 weeks since they got in a car accident. Okay. Like, I think we got to cut them a little slack.
Some teams have winning streaks. Some teams don't get car
Yeah, the
accidents.
Charlotte Hornets have a sign of like it's been this many days since LaMelo Ball ran someone down
Some
with his
mellow
car.
ball ran somebody over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I just think that, like, you know, I look at how all of these teams are kind of talked about in like direct comparison to the Lakers, and like, yes, I have as many questions about the Lakers as anybody. But I also, like, you look around and you're like, all right, well, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they haven't had Jalen Williams all year. And he still is talking about that wrist as if it's this like pain management thing that isn't going to go away until he gets another operation on it over the summer. That would make me concerned if that was my second best player and on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The
Well, Alex
Denver
Caruso's
Nuggets, like,
best player, but
they haven't had what's that?
Alex Caruso's their second best player. But you know, I get what you mean. Their
Also
second best
fair.
scorer.
But like you know, the Denver Nuggets, they didn't have Jokic for a while. They're supposed to finally get Aaron Gordon back on Friday. They didn't have Christian Brown for a while. Cam Johnson's fit on that roster. It looks like they took a real step back going from MPJ to Cam Johnson, and their clutch abilities have been greatly diminished as well this season. So they don't look like the title contender that I thought they were going to be going into the season. You could look at, like, you mentioned the Houston Rockets and how because of Ime Udoka's distrust of small little white dudes, that like we don't know what the Rockets are going to be capable of. And like you could go to you know, who else? The Phoenix Suns, the Golden State Warriors might not even make the playoffs. You know, like Minnesota, they look probably like they've been to 2 straight Western Conference Finals, but you have Rudy Gobert saying he's excited to get Kyle Anderson back because he actually passes to his teammates. So like things aren't great there either. So
He's such a loser. I just like it makes me so happy to know that like Rudy's like never gonna win a ring. Like there's just no way. The basketball gods will not allow it. Like,
and so like, but yeah, like so it's I presented this as a conversation of like, you know, is there anything that the Lakers specifically can do to make us feel like they aren't fraudulent? But I think what the proper response to that, if you want to be optimistic, is like, I think all these teams are fraudulent.
that's actually
The
that
Cavs
is a
just
great
traded
point.
for
Maybe that is how we spin this and make ourselves feel better about it. Is like,
yeah.
you know, yeah, like we know the Lakers have a ton of flaws because we watch them every night, but also like all these other teams have a bunch of flaws too.
Well, actually, I think you and I had this conversation when this CBA was first put into place, and you know, like in the NFL, you could be in week 12 and half the team is going to be, you know, 7-5 or 5-7 or 6-6. And you're just looking around, you're like, is everybody mediocre with like a couple of pretty good looking teams? And then a couple of weeks later, those teams that did look pretty good had a couple of injuries. And now all of a sudden, everybody looks mediocre. Like in this CBA, where everything is really like intentionally mediocrisized, I'm gonna call that like
It's definitely
a
not a
word.
word, but we can make it one.
Mediocritized, made mediocre. Like I do think that we're living in this era where fraudulence is, you know, this grayscale deal that everybody is going to be dealing with in it to one extent or another. And for the Lakers to like, at least like, to me, if the Lakers can get LeBron and Luka and Austin to be that like final level villain that you talked about at the top of this conversation, like that at least is something that the Lakers could potentially do to become less fraudulent. I don't know how many of these teams have very many things that they could do, you know, that don't involve just magically getting healthy, that make them less fraudulent. And I think that's kind of a separating factor here for the Lakers. Like, if you want to be optimistic, I think that's as good a reason to be optimistic as any. Is like, if the Lakers just eat some of the meat that they leave on the bone on all of these games, then they become a hell of a lot less fraudulent in ways that we're kind of concerned that they are.
Yeah, can JJ and his extremely organized offense, don't listen to the podcasters, he's very organized. Can he get his guys to do any movement off the ball whatsoever? Like that's a big question over the last 18 games or so.
That one, I would love to know what that exchange was on the sideline. Like, Luka,
Well,
we
no,
actually
did you
just
see the
had one
pregame? Did you
screen.
see the pregame exchange?
Where like Vando like played it up again.
No. Where Redick basically went at Cranges.
Oh, well,
He was mad about the organized
yeah.
offense rate and was
I
being
talked
very.
about that on the show last night, and it's like, JJ, get off Twitter.
Yeah, he's too. Come on, man.
You're too online. Get
You
off
could
Twitter.
tell that he had been thinking about that for like way too long and was waiting for a chance to like steer a question to address it. And
Oh,
it's
did you
just like
see how
I don't
like
want.
played up it was? Did you see
Yeah,
like in the
I don't.
presser? He was like, "Hold on, no, I want to come back to it." Like, come on, no,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, bud.
yeah, no.
Dude,
I do not want my coach that online.
I
Like
almost
I
made a
want
joke that I would have immediately
I
regretted.
want Joe Mazzulla, who like I'm convinced uses a flip phone. If he even has one at all.
No, he uses landlines only. Like,
Yeah. Only payphones. He doesn't want people to track him.
pager and payphones.
Yeah.
I could see it. So yeah, I when we talk about like that second bullet point of like how, to me it is a matter of like, my how is, how do you get, because right now I'm looking at their net rating on the season. They've played 294 minutes together. They have an offensive rating of 109.2, and they have a defensive rating of 109.6. So to me, the focus, Harrison, for the rest of the season is get those guys not just in the positive, but in the like. And I don't think statistically it's even possible to get them in the overwhelming positive. But like from here on out, right? Like if we basically just wipe out the first part of the season, from here to the end of the year, I want those minutes that Luka and LeBron and Austin are sharing the court. I want those to be overwhelmingly positive, because that's the only chance that the Lakers have. You could talk about like, well, maybe they could stagger. Well, if you stagger them, that means you're playing like Jake LaRavia more. Sorry, Jake, but like you're not LeBron James or Luka Doncic.
I also think that I do wonder. I don't think that this is necessarily what's happening, but I do wonder if there's an element of LeBron and like the center lineups being saved more for the postseason as a card to pull. Which, like, to be clear, every team is big now, and so you can't just go small all the time, I don't think. And like when you need to have enough rebounders on the floor, but I do think that in doses that could be pretty devastating, especially if LeBron goes back to sort of playing defense like the LeBron towards the end of last year when he was alongside Dorian Finney-Smith, and those two were sort of like a terror to twosome. On the back line and like, just rotating and all that stuff. Like, I think that if there is part of LeBron that's like, I can't do this for 82 games at 41 or whatever, but I am going to try and ramp this up over the last little bit and head into the playoffs in a strong place, ready to sort of do my LeDraymond thing, then that could be something that like that shows me, okay, the Lakers do have like sort of a curveball pitch to throw here that teams are going to have a hard time dealing with.
And look, as I said a second ago, like I'm looking at those trio basically like from this point in the season on. The last 5 games, Luka and Austin and LeBron have played 102 minutes together, and they're carrying an offensive rating of 112.1 and a defensive rating of 94.3. Now, the caliber of teams that they've been playing hasn't been very good. You had a game against the Sacramento Kings, and you had a game against the Golden State Warriors, who are on their way to potentially missing the playoffs as well. As I said a second ago. So like there's a reason that like small sample sizes are kind of tough to build off of. But like, I don't know, I'm like, one of the things that and JJ didn't, he obviously bristled at the question about the organized offense and stuff. But like there's a reason it's being asked, right? Like, I actually thought it was a really good question by, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name. You're brand new to
It's the
beat.
new OC Register guy. Yeah, I'm not gonna guess his
Ben
name.
something.
Yeah, I
I'm
was gonna
sorry.
say Ben. I can look this up.
Yeah, he's like Ben Royner or something like that. But like, yeah,
It's Benjamin
I
Royer.
Royer. There you go. See, I was
Yeah,
close.
yeah, you're pretty close. He's been doing a good job.
Well, I thought it was a really good question,
Yeah.
and I think it's it's a question that needs asking. It's like, hey, there's a style of offense that you guys play when you look good, and there's a style of offense that you play when you guys look bad. How do
I
you?
guess maybe the thing that Rob and JJ bond over is like their ability to like change the terms of something that they don't like. And so like Rob's like, we were being aggressive in the way we told teams no. We weren't going to do that
Right?
deal. And JJ's like, we're being organized in the way that everyone's standing around. That's also organization. I told those guys to
Yeah.
stand there.
Technically speaking, we have 5 guys on the court, which is organization.
They're doing what I wanted.
It's not 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have guys just wandering onto the court and getting too many men on the court penalties or fouls called against them.
We have
Organization,
Vando ready
baby.
to stand up and clap at exactly the right time to keep Luka from killing me. We are a well-oiled, organized machine.
That I'm not kidding, Harrison. That was one of my favorite sideline moments of all
That was
time.
so funny. And like I am convinced that Vando really did do that on purpose, just to be like,
Oh,
okay,
he
like
first-
I'm gonna stop Luka, but I'm gonna do it in a way that doesn't stand out. Like I'm gonna stand up and be like, hell yeah, let's go team, guys, like soft clap. And then like,
I want to know.
yeah, Luka, let's talk, buddy.
I want to know like what it was that Vando gave us standing ovation to on the court. You know what I mean? Like what was going on the court? Because it would be really funny if it was like a travel called against the Lakers. Right?
Yeah. It's like, that's okay, guys. We'll get him back. That's all right.
Oh yeah, good job, Luka. Don't kill our coach. Good job.
Yeah.
Well,
Luka. Everyone in here has camera phones.
But yeah, like, and as I said on like the video that I made about it, I thought it was actually like a good thing that Luka and JJ like interact like that. I think
every star player and coach scream at each other sometimes. Like that's just a thing. Like they don't usually show it on the broadcast. And so it's like it looks like this there's like a Bigfoot found footage element to it when it's coming from the crowd, but it's like guys yell at each other and get frustrated during it, especially guys that are as competitive as Luka and JJ.
I would be worried if we didn't have any evidence of that taking place ever, because that indicates that there isn't an amount of caring about it, right? Like these guys don't care enough.
Yeah, you obviously don't want it every possession, but you know, if that's happening sometime, like that just feels like a normal basketball thing to me. And like it's been telling that every player asked about it has been like that happens all the time.
Yeah, current player, former player, everything. I mean, I asked around the league about it, and they're like, remember when Spo bumped or LeBron bumped Spo? Like this happens all the time. You know?
It's like these guys get mad at each other in the crucible of competition. Like that's just going to happen. Yeah, that didn't really stand out to me.
Yeah.
The other part of this situational awareness, that was amazing.
I honestly think that like Vando might have paid for his contract right then.
He should get the teammate of the year award for that moment. You know, like whatever the NBA, whoever they named it after, I'm blanking on the name, but they have like a teammate of the year award. Vando should get it.
Yeah.
Just for Luka there.
He is legitimately one of the most popular players in the league. Vando is. And given the way that he has handled like being out of the rotation, being back in the rotation, being out of the rotation, being in the rotation, and still standing up, like given the way that JJ has,
for sure. I have a lot of respect for Vando.
Well, no, but I could just being purely petty here. If you'd been dicked around in the ways that JJ has with Vando all year, and you see Luka get up to go get him, a lot of guys would just be like,
well, do you think that was like a Game of Thrones revenge standoff where it's like Vando stood up because he's like, Luka, this is my kill.
She the sword. This is mine.
He's sitting on the as he was clapping. He's like JJ Redick, Rob Pelinka.
Rob can't be on the list. He gave him his extension.
Yeah, that's true. Rob Pelinka's haters. Anthony Irwin.
Shit. The last part of this conversation, as far as like, the fraudulence, and look, like there's the obvious response, like win against the good teams from here on out, but the last part of this conversation that I really wanted to hit on before we get out of here is Austin, and his part in being a part of the big three. And it's funny because like right at the top of the show, Super 2W, whatever, says benching Reaves is how you prove the haters wrong, or that the Lakers aren't fraudulent. And it's like Austin's usage.
Who people want him even benched for. Like, I mean, I think that's obviously not going to happen regardless because of how. Yeah, but it's like, who do you want playing instead of him?
Vando.
That's not starting right now.
Yeah, I'm guessing people would probably say like those, like that kind of person, the fan that thinks of basketball that way is probably thinking Vando. But yeah, so
benching my all-star for Jared Vanderbilt,
yeah, to own the libs. But like the with Vando or with Austin, his usage is down recently. His role in the offense, like I think they've become a lot more LeBron centric, basically since the All-Star break than they were before it. Austin's production is down. I don't think his minutes are down. I think he's still playing.
I felt like they were really looking for him last night and trying to get him going though.
Yeah, well, like here's my thing that like, all right, so JJ said that Austin was going to be spending more time in LeBron lineups. And I saw that some people were kind of like, washing their hands of that as an approach. But my thing is, I thought that like in going into the year, I thought one of the Lakers' real strengths could potentially be LeBron Austin lineups against second units. And one of the reasons that I thought it would be a strength was because those guys, that two-man game between LeBron and Austin, whether it's traditional or inverted, is legitimately really bleeping good. That was the closing approach that they had when it was LeBron and AD and Austin. And so like moving that to, minutes in the second and third quarters against opposing benches, like that felt like, some real opportunity there for him. So to me, like that is how I think Austin finds his way here a little bit more. But I also do think that Austin taking a step back and being more of the like somewhat overqualified tertiary producer or engine of the offense to allow LeBron to feel more comfortable on the court. I actually think there's something to that, like from a basketball standpoint, just to keep LeBron engaged, because when LeBron isn't engaged, the Lakers are just not a very good basketball team. So what do you think about what the Lakers can do here? Do you think this approach of a little bit less Austin, maybe being more, is kind of the right path forward here?
I mean, if you were going to cut a guy's role, like I think he's the one that is going to be the most willing to buy into that, which is sort of paradoxical considering that he's in a contract year, but I guess LeBron is too. And so, yeah, like
I just pretty confident in the contract he's about to get. That's the sense that I get.
Yeah. And so I just, he's the one that makes the most sense to take some possessions away from. I do think that those guys, like part of the reason that basically every pairing of two of them has been better than the pairing of three of them is just that they just have a lot of stuff that they overlap on being good at, and there's just less opportunities to do that. So I think the more that you stagger them out and the more that you're giving Austin sort of not his own units to run necessarily, but you're putting him in those LeBron units, and you're sort of like alternating between those pairings as much as you possibly can. I think think is going to be better for the team because you have sort of more like of those. You just have more opportunities for them to make an impact to offset their weaknesses that they're bringing on the other end.
Yeah, I also LeBron's catch and shooting numbers this year have been abysmal. And like we think of what LeBron was going to do as the third best player or whatever on doing the little things and defending and stuff like that. But I think having somebody who, when the ball swings around to them, um, knocks down that shot at a higher rate than LeBron has so far this year is just as, if not maybe more impactful than asking LeBron, "Hey man, do you mind being the low man on this defensive possession?" So, and look, like I might be wrong, and basically the Lakers have 20 games or so. Yeah, I think almost exactly 20 games left in the season, and hopefully, they'll be able to arrive at some conclusion about this trio. And depending on the conclusion that they arrive at, that paints a picture of the kind of off season that they're going to have, and you know, um, hopefully it works out, and hopefully that the Lakers are able to prove that they aren't fraudulent. But as it stands right now, like it's an uphill battle. Like we started the conversation talking about them as fraud-ish, and I still pretty much feel that way. And if I am going to be optimistic, it has more to do with my lack of belief in the other teams that they're competing against. But I do think that there are things that the Lakers can do and steps that the Lakers can take that some of these other teams don't have that those steps potentially to take and improve. Like there are ways that the Lakers can improve that might make them less so. And look, at the end of the day, we've known all year it's going to come down to matchups in the playoffs. That's what it's been ever since this CBA was put into place. We know that for the Lakers, it's going to come down to Luka being incredible in one of the in a game
Every
or two
series.
every series. Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
To give them even a puncher's chance at it. And it'll come down to like you'll have an Austin wild card game, or you'll have a LeBron masterclass and in one of those games that they spend the whole time talking about what's the word that they always use, not retro LeBron, what's the like they always did this with Derrick Rose. Every time he like made a layup they were like
Vintage.
vintage, yeah. It was
Yeah.
like, so maybe you'll get a vintage LeBron game, and that's
LeBron,
the path
LeBron is a vintage at this point. He's that's how aged he is. He's
yeah.
Lakers get him
You're
out of
not
the
wrong.
cellar. They're like, look, we got this 2003 LeBron.
That's the crunk juice that they need to give Ayton.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I have to run because I was just informed by my son's babysitter that she needs to go. So I need to go pick up Miles. Harrison, anything
Okay. Well,
that
I
you
hope Avery has fun wherever she heads next. But yeah.
I'm looking at the questions. I think we don't have any, so we're good. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. And until the next, also, by the way, a hire here. I brought Brian Fritz on. He's handling timestamps and thumbnails for this here account. I know you guys have been complaining about the lack of timestamps for the shows. And Brian is helping us out there. If you guys are looking for any kind of other video or audio production, I believe he's linking his information in these podcasts as well. So until the next time you guys hear from us, I'm Anthony Irwin. That is Harrison Fagan. Have a great rest of your day. Make somebody else's. And Miles, I will be there in about 10 minutes.